Hi and welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about how increasing my confidence has reduced my anxiety, and we'll be going through the different ways that I've gone about building up my self-esteem over the years. Looking back, I find one of the biggest challenges to have faced in my life was to have had a lack of self-confidence, which has affected me in many different ways. Over time, as I began facing this issue, I came to the conclusion that my lack of self-confidence was largely brought about by an avoidance of dealing with my anxiety, which was only made worse by not engaging in a particularly productive or healthy lifestyle. Understandably, the combination of avoidance and lack of motivation tended to worsen my anxiety and lower my self-esteem, until one day, tired of this negative cycle, I decided that something needed to be done. Initially, I tried but failed to change my habits until eventually I found that with small steps and a bit of patience, I was able to reverse my lack of self-esteem and began improving my lifestyle. As time went by, I found that it became easier to regularly engage in activities which positively affected my self-esteem. Activities such as exercise, eating well, sleeping early, and dedicating myself to my work. This brings me to the first method that I use to build up my confidence, and that is to be productive. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, being productive to me means being able to get things done on a regular basis. This could be anything from fixing a creaky door to reorganizing my office or taking my car to be serviced, just to name a few examples. I also find that being productive is a good way to stay on top of things, while also benefiting from a healthy sense of satisfaction. Another method that I use to build up my confidence is to take responsibility. In my life, I found that it's all too easy to feel good whenever I happen to do something positive or helpful. However, I believe it's equally important to own up to my mistakes whenever I make them. The fact is that no one likes somebody who avoids taking responsibility of their actions, which is something that definitely tends to affect self-confidence and potentially one's relationships as well. For this reason, I believe that owning up to the good, the bad, and the ugly is a good way to remain honest and realistic about oneself, which are things that will definitely contribute to maintaining a healthy level of self-confidence. The next on my list is to engage in a healthy lifestyle. From my point of view, a healthy lifestyle consists of eating well, getting enough sleep, and exercising regularly. In fact, I find that doing these things yields a lot of benefits, starting with improving one's overall health, increasing one's motivation, and building up of confidence, just to name a few. There's also something very satisfying about engaging in positive and healthy activities. This is because our bodies tend to produce feel-good chemicals such as endorphins whenever we exercise and are physically active. Studies have also found that endorphins tend to be released whenever we perceive that we're doing something beneficial, not only for ourselves, or something altruistic for others. Another good way to increase my confidence is to take care of my appearance. This may seem obvious, but looking after oneself is a great way to build up and maintain confidence, especially when it becomes second nature. In fact, taking care of one's appearance is not only beneficial for ourselves, but also tends to signal to others around us that we are likely to be responsible and caring individuals. This can create a positive first impression that will likely determine one's approachability, and that tends to positively affect the way that others interact with us. The last method that I use to increase my confidence that I will share with you today is to spend a bit of time every now and again assessing any progress that I may have made while looking for ways to improve. In fact, I find that looking at my past and my present is a good way not to lose focus on my two main goals in life, which are to build up my self-confidence and to eventually become free of anxiety. In order to keep me focused on these goals, I tend to spend a bit of time every now and again noting down the different ways that I've improved over time, while looking for and recognizing faults that I may have. By doing this, I not only gain appreciation for positive things that I may have been able to accomplish over the years, but finding faults in myself gives me the opportunity to look for ways of changing whatever may be holding me back. This, for example, could take the form of being too dependent on medication or being over-reliant on a friend or a family member, in which case possible solutions could be to cut back on medication if possible and to habituate myself to be more independent in life. Having said that, I recognize that every change takes time, and with a bit of patience and determination, that every goal can be eventually accomplished. this brings me to the end of this video. Next time, I will be talking about dealing with fear and ways to cope with panic attacks. Until then, thank you for watching, and see you next time.